Hello, friends. Welcome back to my channel. It's Jasmyne Okudo here, and I'm here with something very important and exciting and informative. Right. So today I want to show us. I want to talk about some of the highest paying web frameworks that you could learn in 2023. It's the beginning of a new year and it's a great opportunity to start learning new things, especially things or skills that would help you that will increase your income. Yeah, so I came across a link that was shared on a group chat that I'm in, and it was a very interesting link. It was a statistics that was compiled by Stack Overflow, and it contained one of the a list of some of the highest paying web frameworks. All right, so I'm going to attach. I'm going to drop the link in the description of this video. All right, so that you can go through the link and also see it for yourself. I'm not saying that this is 100% correct, all right? But we all know Stack Overflow, and I'm pretty sure that um they made um they made a very good research and got a whole lot of accurate statistics before coming up with this. So without wasting much time, let's go through it. There are so many. There are like 24 or 25 web frameworks contained there. And funny enough, there are a whole lot that I hadn't even known about until the I set my eyes on this on this website. So I'm grateful to Stack Overflow for this. At least it makes me know, how much I need to learn and how much I need to know. All right. So the first one is phonics, right? Okay, I think I should go up a little. Go up a little. Okay, from here it says that Clojure, right? Clojure remains the highest paid tech language to know. I know there are so many of us that don't even know that there's a language called Clojure. Chef developers are the highest paid, but Chef is also the most dreaded other two. Big data and data streaming skills are well compensated with Apache, Spark, Kafka, Hadoop, and all in the top three other frameworks and libraries. Additionally, developers that have collocation experience are paid more than their cloud-only counterpart. This may not make a lot of sense, but let's get into it. So we have phonics. This I believe this is like yearly, yearly payments, right? 94,000. But this may not be completely how do I put it? You might not find it. Okay, this could be like an average, right? It's not like whenever you get a phonics job or a job that needs to do phonics, you're going to expect this amount of salary. But I think it's an aggregate of a whole lot of other salaries that were compiled. So we have Phoenix, Ruby on Rails, Play Framework being the third, then Gatsby, Svelte, a whole lot of frameworks. Then there we have React JS. So when I saw React JS, I was like, okay, now there's something familiar here. So we have Fast API, Drupal, Flask, ASP.NET, um, Node.js. Okay, something else that is familiar. I'm familiar with ASP.NET and this, but I don't do them. But I've heard about them on like things like um, Phoenix, Play, Framework. They sounded really strange the first time I read them. So we have Node, then there's Angular, there is Next.js, there is Fastify. We have Angular again, Vue, Django, Express, jQuery, Symfony, Nux, and Laravel. So if you have a knowledge of one of these frameworks, then you're definitely in the right place, all right? But if you don't have any knowledge of any of these frameworks, it's not a bad thing. You can always start somewhere. You can always start somewhere. So if you're doing any of these frameworks, you could just let me know in the comment section. I would really like to meet people who are doing, something I haven't done before. Something like Phoenix, Ruby on Rails, Play Framework, and all that. So I actually have a slide here that contains, very short descriptions on these frameworks, right? And I'll just open it right now. Okay, so let's go. The first one on our list is okay. I wanted to also explain what web framework is in case you're looking at this and you're like, okay, what on earth is a web framework? So a web framework or web application framework is a software framework that is designed to support the development of web applications, including web services, web resources, and web APIs. Web frameworks provide a standard way to build and deploy web applications on the World Wide Web. Examples are React.js, as you should already know, Express, and so many others that we saw in that list. Frameworks are also software that is developed and used by developers to develop other software, right? Hope that makes sense. While a programming language is a foundation, a framework is an add-on, a set of components and additional functionality which simplifies the creation of applications of a certain type, right? So frameworks are basically built with programming languages, all right, and they are just like React.js was built with JavaScript, and yeah, that's how it works. So they basically simplify things, make it easier for you to create applications, software. So the first one on our list is the Phoenix framework. So Phoenix is a web development framework written in the functional programming language Elixir. So I've heard about Elixir. I started hearing about it from last year, but I wasn't really interested in it. But by the time I saw this list this year, I had to, go and look into it. So currently, I'm taking a course and making some research on Elixir. So far it's been quite strange, to be honest, but it's interesting. So maybe towards the end of the month or sooner or later, I'll create a video on what that looks like. So Phoenix uses a server-side model view controller pattern. Second is Ruby on Rails. It's a server-side web application written in Ruby. So that is the programming language that it was written in under the MIT license. It's a model view controller framework, providing default structures for a database, a web service, and all that. Play framework is an open source web application framework which follows this. It's written in Scala and user and usable from other programming languages that are compiled. So it can be written with either Scala or Java, right? So basically, the reason why I put this that I wrote down the I had to put in the languages was so that you know what you need to learn. Something just like React now. To learn React, you have to have a foundation knowledge of JavaScript. So the same way to learn Phoenix, you have to have a knowledge of Elixir, Ruby on Rails. You've got to learn Ruby, Play framework. You've got to learn Scala or Java. Okay, so Deno. Deno is a runtime for JavaScript, TypeScript. So for to use Deno, you've got to know JavaScript, right? And Gatsby is also a JavaScript framework. It's an open source static site generator built on top of Node using React and GraphQL. So this is like a site generator. I haven't used it before, but it sounds like a WordPress kind of stuff. that you may not really need the code to write to to use with. You may not need to learn how to code, but I you could search it out. I haven't done a deeper research on that. All right, so Svelte is also a JavaScript framework. It's used to build static web apps that are fast, lean, and are fun for developers to use. ASP.NET is a free and open source web framework and successor to ASP.NET developed by Microsoft. So yeah, it runs on the full .NET framework on Windows. So I believe that it's also to the language, the programming language used for this is .NET, VB.NET or something like that. So to learn ASP.NET Core, you have to you got to get a foundation knowledge of .NET and all that. So Blazor is a free and open source web framework that enables developers to create web apps using C Sharp, okay, and HTML. Okay, so this is a C Sharp framework, right? So you've got to have a knowledge of C Sharp to use this. React.js is a free and open source front-end JavaScript library for building user interfaces based on UI component. It is maintained by Meta, that's formerly Facebook, and a community of individual developers and um, companies. So React is actually hot in demand right now. So it's a very good place to start with. Fast API is also a web framework for developing RESTful APIs in Python. Okay, so this uses Python. Drupal is written in PHP, so you've got to learn PHP to use Drupal. Flask is also written in Python. It is classified as a micro framework because it does not require particular tools or libraries and all that. ASP.NET again is an open source server side web application framework designed for web development to produce dynamic web pages. Also developed by Microsoft to allow programmers to build dynamic websites, applications, and services. Then Node.js is also another JavaScript framework, very high in demand. Also, it's a cross-platform open source server environment that can run on Windows. It can be used. It's used to create um back end. It's used to do a lot of back end work, right? Yeah, it's a back end JavaScript runtime environment. Runs on the V8 JavaScript. So if you're interested in doing back end, you don't want to do front end. Front end involves creating a user interface and all that. While back end is what controls the application, right? Used to create APIs and get information, helps you to get the information from your database. So if you're interested in doing a lot of back end work, you could Node is a nice place to start. It's a good place to start. And Angular is also Angular JS, right? Because if you notice in the list that we looked at, there is Angular JS and there's also just Angular. So Angular JS is a discontinued free and open source JavaScript based web framework for developing single page applications. It was maintained mainly by Google and all that. Next.js is also a React framework and of course built with JavaScript that enables several extra features, including server-side rendering and generating static websites. So if you're into the front end, Next.js is also a good place to look at. So React, Angular, Next.js, and some others that we'll be looking at are all for front end web development. So they are very good places to start in your learning this new year. Fastify is a JavaScript web framework highly focused on providing the best developer experience. And then there's Angular. So Angular is a TypeScript based free and open source web application framework led by the Angular team at Google and by a community of individuals and corporations. Angular is a complete rewrite from the same team that built Angular JS. So basically, Angular is based on TypeScript, while AngularJS is based on JavaScript. So TypeScript is just like JavaScript, but yeah, it has types, right? It's very interesting to use, and it's so much better than plain JavaScript, and it's being used in a whole lot of applications. But to learn TypeScript, you still have to start with JavaScript. So if you're looking to learn Angular, you have to start with JavaScript, then progress to TypeScript, then to Angular. Vue.js is also a JavaScript framework, right? So it's also a front end web, development framework. It's used for building user interfaces and single page applications. Django is a free and open source Python based web framework that follows the model template views. So this is for Python. If you're looking to learn Django, you have to learn Python if you haven't. Express is also another JavaScript framework. It's a back-end web application framework. So this is for backend for building RESTful APIs with Node.js. Then jQuery is a JavaScript library designed to simplify HTML DOM tree traversal and manipulation, as well as event handling, CSS animation, and Ajax. Okay, Symfony is a free and open source PHP web application framework. So this is also a PHP web framework, right? So to learn Symfony, you've got to learn PHP. Okay. Nux.js. The first time I saw Nux, I thought it was a spelling error because previously I had only known about Next.js. So Nux.js is also a free and open source JavaScript library based on Vue.js, Node.js, Webpack, and Babel.js. Nux is inspired by Next, which is a framework of similar purpose based on React.js. This framework is Okay, the framework is advertised as a meta framework for universal applications. So this is also a front end web framework, right? 25 Laravel. Laravel is very popular, and it's a PHP web framework. It's used for building a lot of back end and it's used in a whole lot of applications, right? It's very popular. So if you are looking to learn Laravel, you have to start with learning PHP, the basics of PHP. And this is the last on our list. And there's one more thing I would like to show you. And these are the programming languages that you need to learn, right, in order to get into any of those frameworks. So I just made a count of the number of languages or the number of frameworks that require JavaScript, that require PHP, Java Scala, Elixir, Python, Ruby, and all that. And this was what I got. So from the frameworks that we've just viewed or looked at, the 25 frameworks, about 14 of them require JavaScript, which is a lot. Two of them require C Sharp and .NET. Then there's just one that requires Elixir, and that one happens to be the first one, the highest paying one, right? So just because something is everywhere doesn't mean it's not really. Of course, it's good to learn things that are popular, right? It's good. It's good to learn things that are popular, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't pay attention to the ones that seem unpopular. Look at Elixir having just one web framework, but it's topping our lists. It's topping the list. So there's Python with about three web frameworks. I think we saw Django and a few others. We have Ruby with one framework. Java Scala was just one framework. Almost no other framework. Yeah. Then PHP, yeah, had about two, Laravel and Symfony. Yeah, so with this, my little, um, with this little information I just showed you, I hope that you'll be able to make a decision on the kind of programming language you want to learn this year, as we are just starting the year. And if you've made up your mind or you have any questions or comments, I would love to see them in the comment section. And I hope that you have a wonderful year ahead learning the right languages. right? Or learning your desired languages. There's no right or wrong language or web framework, all right? There's none that is right, there's none that is bad, there's none that is, you can't say this one is better than this one. It's not, it doesn't work that way. Everyone you want, anything you want to learn, go ahead and learn it and be the best in it. And I'm rooting for you. So with that, we've come to the end of this short video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and drop your comment. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.